Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Do you remember those two drones that attacked the Kremlin? Yeah? All right, I do remember them too. And do you remember that the Americans and the Ukrainians were denying responsibility? Okay, I remember that too. A few days ago, the Russians came out and say, you know what? Actually, the fact that the Ukrainians launched that attack with those two drones over Kiev makes the US responsible because, according to the Russians, the US was planning and helped the Ukrainian achieve that, I would say, fantastic thing of having the two drones really fly over Moscow, over the Kremlin. Well, initially, it was a denial by both Ukraine and the United States of America. Well, right now, not that we necessarily believe it, but the Americans are saying that actually, I think the Ukrainians really attacked the Kremlin with those two drones. Now, what would be the changes and the consequences, if any, and what would they I would say, surprisingly, come with this reach this conclusion. So I have here two articles coming from two American media outlets, and let's see what they say. And they will not lie to us, okay? I'm very interested in why now, what could be the implications, because I can say, well, you know what, Gigi raped Mary. And the question is, okay, what will be the consequences? Will Gigi be arrested or not? If Gigi will not be arrested and called the rapist, then why do you still bother? You know what I mean? If there are no consequences. So if it's true and America says, yes, it was the Ukrainians attacking the Kremlin, trying to kill a democratically elected president, I know, evil Putin, but he's still democratically elected in an evil country, right? That's the way these guys want us to think. Then what are going to be the consequences? How do we call the Ukrainians? Are we going to call them terrorists? Is Ukraine a terrorist state that engages in assassination of a leader of another country that are at war with? Is that okay? Is that not okay? Well, if it's okay that way, is it the other way around also okay? So let's see. And I think the Americans are coming with this on right now just to divert any blame. So this comes from the Trust Network of CNN. I think it's called Clinton Network, right? US intelligence indicates Ukrainians may have launched a drone attack on Kremlin. Remember, baby steps. They're not going to come and say, yes, that's the way it is. And this is the evidence they got. US officials have picked up chatter amongst Ukrainian officials blaming each other for a drone attack on the Kremlin earlier this month, contributing to a US assessment, I like that one, I don't like beliefs, assessment that a Ukrainian group may have been responsible. Sources familiar with the intelligence told CNN. What do you mean Ukrainian group? Do you mean secret services, secret police, security services, military? Who are those guys? The intercepts include some members of Ukraine's military, oh my, and intelligence bureaucracy, speculating that Ukrainian Special Operations Forces conducted the operation with the help of the chatter, combined with other intercepted communications of Russian officials blaming Ukraine for the attack and wondering how it happened, has led US officials to consider a possibility that a Ukrainian group was behind the incident on May 3rd. On that morning, two drones flew up towards the Kremlin's Senate Palace and struck the top of the building. However, the US has not been able to reach a definitive conclusion on who was responsible and only assesses with low confidence that the Ukrainian group may have been behind the incident, officials say. But if it's not the Ukraine, who were they? The Chinese? Yeah, because they benefit out of this, right? Now, this is, it go on to say that Zelensky has denied Ukraine was behind the attack, but let's go to the other article coming from The Hill. right here. And again, it's from the 24th of May. U.S. officials believe Ukraine was likely responsible for Kremlin drone attack. Report. I can give you the report right now if you want. All right. U.S. officials believe that Ukraine was likely behind the failed drone attack on the Kremlin to kill Putin. Let's put it this way. Even though I don't think those drones would have been able to kill anybody. Maybe a stray dog or something, along with a number of other killings and incursions on Russian territory, according to reports. The other article from the Clinton network did not have this, along with other incursions and killings. Intelligence officials do not know which unit was behind the drone attack, and it's unclear if Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky knew about it beforehand. The New York Times reported. So these guys are they don't know which unit was behind. So they know it coming from that side. They're not certain what unit. And they don't know if Zelensky was aware. Well, if he's not aware, that means that is insurrection right there, insubordination, and that's a really bad penalty. Right? The US has based its assessment of intercepted communication with both Ukraine and Russia. The Times reported and has a low confidence in the estimate because it has yet to identify which specific unit was behind the attack. Well, I really don't care. How should I put it? If I am United States of America, I wouldn't care if it was the military or it was the special forces. I mean, yes, you want to know that eventually. But you know it came from this side. And that has a very potential high risk. So let's say the Americans find out, or eventually they agree. Now, let's say, how do I put it? First, let's put it this way. Maybe the United States just wants to avoid responsibility. And say, no, we were not involved. You gotta take a fall right now, Ukraine, for us. Take one for us, you gotta. And Ukraine is gonna say, okay, we're not gonna say anything, but you come and say it like this. And say, no, we think it was the Ukrainians, therefore it was not us. Well, the big fish here is United States of America, not Ukraine. It's not between Ukraine and Russia. It's about United States and interest behind the United States leadership and military. And military is part of it, but it's just used by interest. And then it's Russia that needs to be, if you know what I mean. So I think that could be one things like this, when things get closer to you, you say, okay, Gigi, you gotta take a fall right now for the group, for the team, and you're gonna take a fall, which is Ukraine. But they're not gonna go and say, hey, Gigi did it. The exact are these guys from this unit, Tom Jones and Michael Jackson, together with Bruce Dickinson. They organized this. We're gonna hang them. They're not gonna be like that, all right? Even if they're gonna give us the name, they're gonna be punished by never hearing from them, sent to Tahiti or something. So that's one aspect. The other one, let's say they find out the really, like, oh my God, who could they have been? I said it was the Ukrainians since the very beginning. And one of the reasons why I tell you why I think it was the Ukrainian, not necessarily that someone attacked the Kremlin. It was a surprise visit done by Mr. Zelensky to Finland that night. Well, maybe he thought, I'm just going to be over there. I don't know anything about anything. I can't be accused of anything. And if the Russians want to kill me now, because these guys tried to kill Putin, I'll be in Finland. So they were not going to hit me in Finland. They're not going to hit me in Paris, in London, in Berlin, in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, or in Hiroshima, Japan. All right? So all this until I see who's going to take the fall and the blame. The Americans are coming and say, well, we're going to find out the people, but it was not Zelensky, so don't fuck Zelensky up, basically. Could that be? Could that be? Do I know for a certain? I don't. They didn't call me yet. I'm still waiting, man. These weasels are late. So that could be one. And if, let's say, the Americans are honest, and they say, you know what, it was the Ukrainians, what are they going to do about it? I can show you with this hand, a movement up and down, or if you want like a diagonal, with this hand, what I'm going to do? I think that's what they're going to do, which means, beat it. So, no, they're not going to do shit. They think they're going to say, hey, Zelensky, we're going to cut the weapon supply. Hey, Zelensky, you are a criminal. Oh, Ukraine, you're a terrorist state. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to know. They just were going to avoid responsibility, pushing this guy under the bus. Take the fall now, okay? Even though, honestly, I don't think US really gives a fuck if the Russia says it was you. After all, these guys send them tanks, money, intelligence, trainers, airplanes, fighter jets, long-range missile systems, defense missiles. They send them everything. Do they give a shit? You think if those guys are going to say it was you? Yeah, so basically. So anyway, I don't know exactly what the move is here. Probably for the eyes and the little brains of the majority of our fellow humanoids sharing the planet with us, which is you and I, since we're so fantastic, if you know what I mean. So we're going to find out, right? Maybe in 10 years, or maybe when these guys allow us to find out, because they know exactly who did it. I have no doubts they know. I have no doubts. I'm talking about the Americans. They know exactly who did it. But anyway, I mean, I would say 99% certain. And the Russians maybe 98%. And Ukrainian 100% know who did it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.